Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here, and welcome to my review of a very special headphone. This is called the SJY Horizon. And at the time of filming this is priced around $1,000. You can get these different kinds of materials on the cups, and you will end up spending $50 more. You can get different patterns, wavy patterns, different colors like black, silver, purple. I'll leave a link to the SJY audio website as well as the APOS audio website. So you can procure this if you want to. This is an extraordinary headphone, and it's one of the most exciting headphones I've reviewed in a long time. But I do want to disclaim that you need a powerful amplifier for this, and it's not super heavy, but it's not light. So I have it on good authority that the impedance of this is 15 ohms, and that's because it's a low impedance planar magnetic headphone. And the sensitivity is around 88 decibels, which means that it's not going to be easy to drive. It's under 90 decibels. So at every decibel you go under 90, I mean, the current drive then that's required just goes up exponentially. So it's not impossible to drive. Of course, you can drive this with fairly inexpensive things like a topping DAC amp, or let's say a shit audio DAC amp like a Mjolnir will drive this beautifully, or even a Jotunheim will drive this beautifully. And as a matter of fact, a variety of other cheaper stuff will drive this, but do not drive this off a dongle. I do want to disclaim this because if you are one of those who's not into DACs and amps, this review might not be as useful for you. So I just wanted to say that. And guys, it is an extraordinary headphone. I have not enjoyed this level of bass on a closed back without compromising on tonality, without any kind of weird treble quirks, any treble metallicness or brightness ever. This is like the best tuned closed back at this price point of $1,000, and this is in fact like the proverbial giant killer because it competes very well with more expensive closed backs like the ZMF Ori 3.0 and others. To jump right in, guys, welcome back. This is a boutique company, SJY Audio, but it's not just a pretty face with carbon fiber accents. It is an ambitious attempt to bring flagship level tuning and craftsmanship to what is still somewhat of a niche market. So in terms of build and background, SJY is not exactly a household name, I know, but I hope they do become a household name at some point, even at least so far as audiophile circles go. I'm sorry I'm shaking this table just a bit because it's a heavy headphone. It's only 470 grams, but somehow it's shaking my table. But in DIY and boutique communities, SJY has built a reputation for careful tuning, for high quality materials. The carbon is their statement piece. The design is clearly striking. It's got these carbon fiber housings, and I can't get over these carbon fiber housings because these are so beautiful. And a surprisingly ergonomic fit. I mean, the rod system is pretty familiar. You've seen other sort of DIY headphone enthusiasts and sort of manufacturers use this sort of a rod system. It's got a comfort strap thing going on, and these pads are so cushiony, and the opening is pretty robustly, spacious and all that. On the head, it feels like a modern sort of like headphone. It's light-ish, it's purposeful, but it's not a bulky headphone by any means. Okay, in terms of sound, I really love the sound because I'll get into bass later, guys, but it just walks such a fine line between reference and engagement, which is so difficult to find, right? Because you get these engaging headphones that are super duper V-shaped and punchy and bassy, and then you of course get these reference headphones which are clean and acerbic and anemic and just have poor quality bass, and then you can only use those headphones for trebly stuff or trebly genres like the so-called audiophile genres like jazz and classical. This is a headphone which you can use for anything, honestly. You can use it for jazz and classical. I loved it with rock and metal, with modern genres like EDM and all that. So the sub bass is very deep. It sounds like a rifle shot. I've AB'd this with my Abyss 1266 5TC. It holds its own. It outslams Abyss on certain tracks. That said, it's not a complete and out bass set because while there's enough slam, I don't perceive the mid bass to be overpowering and clouding out the mid range but it does have mid bass in case you're worried that it's Harman-like and it has sub bass and no mid bass, which I detest. I like a bit of both, and it does have a bit of both, but it's the most important thing is it's extremely well extended, and I hear and feel the farthest reaches of bass, and I've not heard this kind of bass short of the ZMF Ori 3.0 and the bass 1266, and perhaps the Focal Clear has extremely well textured dynamic driver bass, which I love. But if you like the snappy, plucky, fast, impactful, rumbly, extended, planar bass, this is as good as it gets. Mid-range, I would say, is equally a star because vocals will come through with great presence and clarity that reminds me of really high-end planars like the Hyphaman Aria Organic. But that being said, unlike the Aria Organic, which can sound ever so slightly thin or perhaps just out and out thin in the mids, which you get used to, this does not sound thin in the mids. It has chestiness with male vocals and female vocals soar without any sibilance. The treble is another star of the show because it's extended, but it's not fatiguing. I would say the treble leans warm overall, and I would say the overall tuning leans warm. I don't think it's exactly reference. I think it's reference warm, but it's not overly warm, which is just like the way I like it, and I think most of you do. In terms of technicalities, guys, imaging is a standout because it's very pinpoint accurate. I'm not exactly sure how they're doing this, but I do get the sense of very pinpoint imaging. Resolution is top notch. I've heard things on this and nuances and micro details on this headphone that I've not heard with a lot of my other high-end headphones. So that does happen sometimes, right? Like some of these headphones will capture, because of the FR and technical capacity, certain things in the background that perhaps even a higher end headphone that's 4 times more expensive might not. And that does happen. This is one of those headphones that is just throwing up a lot of surprises in terms of resolution. The soundstage is decent. It doesn't sound like a closed back. It sounds fairly extended. It sounds fairly continuous in terms of its stage presentation. And that's something I really like about certain closed backs nowadays. The modern closed backs sound like open backs or just sound like each other rather. And so that comes through. Dynamics I've talked about. It is punchy. It's got real impact. It's got swing. It's got a thud. It's just got a lot of life in terms of its microdynamics. The microdynamics, which are representative of small gradations in sound, are very impressive as well. So lots of subtle shifts are come through, and the microdynamics here also stand out. Incredible microdynamics. Okay, so I do want to talk about some comparisons. So compared to the ZMF Atrium Closed, I would say this rivals the Atrium Closed for slam, for micro, and for macro. But the Atrium Closed is a lot more resolving, of course. I feel like the Ori 3.0 is a better headphone out and out. Also very similarly tuned, but this might just outslam the Ori 3.2 a bit, but the Ori 3.2 is overall a superior headphone. It's also far more expensive. Now to come down to earth and talk about headphones that are closer to its price point, it's far better than any Odyssey closebacks at this price point. It's far better than any Focal closebacks at this price point. It is a more complete headphone, I think, than the Aria open back headphones. It's a more complete headphone than even the Sennheiser H800S, especially if you like rock and modern genres. This is a very impressive headphone, guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's almost nothing in the $1,000 price point that comes close to this. Like, I would take this headphone at the $1,000 price point than I think most other headphones that exist on the planet, perhaps with the exception of the Focal Clear OG, which is a perennial favorite of mine because the Focal Clear OGs just sound very right to me. So if I compare this with the Focal Clear OGs, I think this outslams the Focal Clear OG, is similarly reference tuned, perhaps ever so slightly warmer in the treble than the Focal Clear OGs, which might actually be to your liking because a lot of people found the Focal Clear OGs to be metallic in the treble. This has no issues with the treble whatsoever. I think this is going to be a crowd pleaser, guys. Like, you do get on this bandwagon, and I feel like I've seen somewhere that there are only 3 units left on the SJY website. APOS, I think, still might have more. So do get in touch with APOS. I'll leave links in the description with to APOS and as well as SJY's website. Phenomenal headphone. So there's no drawbacks to this. The only thing I can think about is that you can't run this off like a dongle. You'll need at least a Army ADI2 or a Jotunheim or a topping DAC amp or a Burson product, right? But if you do happen to have a powerful Class A, Class AB amp, this will sing like you will not believe. The vocals sound chestier, the bass sounds slammier, the treble sounds more extended on better products. So this does scale. The interesting thing about this is that although this is $1,000, a lot like the Focal Clear, this I think rivals a lot of very expensive headphones. Like this is something I would take over a lot of far more expensive products. So who is the SJY Horizon Carbon 4? I think if you're tired of one note tuning, if you want something that can handle both casual listening, fun, and analytical listening, you will love this. If you like boutique craftsmanship and you don't want a run-of-the-mill look, you will love this. I mean, this is very impressive from SJY. I really, really have a lot of respect for this. SJY, if you're watching this, I mean, my salute to you. This is a phenomenal product, and I can't wait to see what you come out with next. So on that note, thank you for watching. If you like this, have more questions, do write to me. I'm happy to answer more questions about this. I'm happy to engage you in the comments. Standout product, gets my highest recommendation. The Horizon Carbon punches far, far above its weight class and punches hard. Stay tuned for the next one.